George Williams to sue the state for millions of dollars after he was arrested many years ago and served 50 years behind bars without being charged. He has just been released this year, the year 2020. Hi again and welcome. This is Links 007 TV. Let's talk. And we're about to discuss this on the program. We'll be right back after this break with the details of this to come. Welcome back and thanks for joining us for the program. So, George Williams was arrested for 50 years without a trial after he was deemed unfit to plead. Now, this story has made headlines right across the country after this man was locked up for most of his life and spent 50 of his precious years behind bars. This has caused a public outrage right across the country, and as the investigation continues into what led to this, he's not waiting and he said that he's about to sue the state for millions of his life being lost. We are not sure what really transpired leading up to his arrest on that fateful day, which should have been many years ago, years before I was even thought of. No, this is a situation in which the government really need to look into and try to find ways and means of not letting this happen again. But from time to time, we do have seen situations such as these arise, and this is just one in another. Can you imagine if there are many more individuals behind bars who many would just say you're lost to the system? I'm wondering if this man had families and if his families had not checked up on him. How could this have been possible if he had had families checking up on him and he did not get a court date in order for his release to be secured? Now he was deemed unfit to plea and they hold him inside that facility for 50 years. Whoa. So we're gonna discuss this right now on the program. So we're gonna dive into some details as it relates to what's to come from this case. So let's go over to that now. So taxpayers could be forced to pay huge sums in compensation to George Williams, a 71-year-old who spent 50 years in custody without a trial. So Williams was not a saint and he was charged with a very serious offense back in 1970. He did not have a trial though for what he was charged with. So I'm going to give you the details of that now and what really led to his arrest back then. So Williams, who is mentally ill, was facing one count each of murder, malicious destruction of property, and wounding with intent. Charges stemming from an incident back in 1970. He was arrested and charged with the taking out or the murder of a Canadian man during a violent attack on the man's family while they drove through the hometown of Ivy District in St. Catherine. At the time he carried out the vicious assault, he was just 20 years old and he was deemed unfit to plea, and he remained in custody until his release just last month. And when we look on those many years that he would have lost out, it's very sad. However, he committed a crime and maybe he was punished by the state for this. I'm not sure. However, someone lost their life innocently and he won compensation for his wrongful what would I call it now, detention for those many years that he would have lost out on his life. Miss Carla Golata, Executive Director of Stand Up for Jamaica, a human rights and non-government organization which was instrumental in the release of Mr. Williams, said that the Jamaican state will be asked to compensate him. The government will have to pay him a huge amount of money, said the individual. The amount according to law, I didn't do the calculation, but it's millions, she said. He has a right to compensation. This is these grounds that he was detained for a time that was longer than the period proposed for his detention. That was not 50 years. So what they're basically saying is that he would not have given 50 years for the crime if he was charged and convicted for it and went to court. So they're seeking compensation in order for his detention for the many years he would have served. In the meantime, the human rights activist said that she met with the Commissioner of Correction and that they had a lengthy discussion on to what really led to this unfortunate situation. She said that her organization is determined to have these persons released from this custody of the local authorities. So this is not the only individual that is behind bars right now and has not been charged or tried with an offense. So there are many more cases right now, and we're just gonna just dig deeper into this. So the lists were shown by the commissioner as people in their 35 to 40 years criteria. There are 7 more persons they stayed in prison for 44 years, and they're basically looking into that right now. And there are 146 similar cases to Mr. George Williams right now, as they are deemed mentally ill and unfit to plead. So the government will have to pay a huge sum of money, and they will have to do it in a speedy fashion based on the fact that they held this individual for so many years without giving him a proper charge or giving him a proper court date in order for his sentence to be handed down by the court. He was arrested and he was just put inside a facility or a holding area for these amount of years. We should have seen him lost out on many years of his life. He would have been in his early 20s or 20-year-old when this transpired. Wow, 1970s to 2020. You just do the math and see how many years. But the fact that he took the life of an innocent individual as well, that really needs to be looked into. And even though he had mental problems, and when we look on those things, I don't believe that the country is doing enough for people with mental illness. And we have seen situations such as these being played out with people with violent acts or mental illness. Whether or not they're guilty of the crime, we don't know. But as it stands, this is just one in many cases right now that is being looked into, and this individual decided to sue the government. But what happened to the family of this individual? Right now, I believe that these families are just out for the money. I strongly believe this because he must have had some family. Where were they when he needed them? Why now everyone is going to come, and because money is going to involve now, everyone going to come now and rally behind him just in order because cash is going to involve. This individual needed you some 50 years ago and no one sought to help him. Now because money is going to be involved, everyone coming around, everyone want to be that kind and helping individual. Now it just goes to show you that some people, they are also out for the money in this case. However, I'm going to leave this one here for now. Just drop it in the comment section how you feel about this one. And do you believe that he should be compensated based on the fact that he took out the life of an innocent individual when he was in his 20s or early 20s? Just tell me how you feel. I'm out for now. Links to Blow 7 TV once more. Links TV. Let's talk.